Welcome everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope you're all ready for more Games Bond. I know I am. What's up, Father Axe Keeper, NPC, lurkers in chat, VOD viewers, everybody else? Happy Saturday and welcome. I hope you are all doing well. I'm excited to finally make additional progress in Games Bond. What's up, LCC? Powerful emote combo there. Everything to do with my streaming took a fairly significant hit during the early part of this year, with real life scheduling being quite intensive. And although I've been back to a regular screaming schedule, not so much, but a regular streaming schedule for the past month or so, I guess. I've still been sort of it's taken a while to kind of get back into the swing of things and figuring out a decent kind of cadence for Games Bond stuff. And even then, of course, we were stuck on the Stealth Affair for quite a while. And then most recently we played Aqua Base, which was actually a really fun stream. I really enjoyed that. But it means that, like, as far as making actual progress and continuing our mission and getting to the next games in the list, we haven't, like, advanced in a long time, in like months. So I feel very good about that, and I have taken the liberty of assuming that we will in fact be finishing both Lord Bromley's estate and Q's armory during today's stream. I don't expect either of them to be prohibitively challenging or problematic or anything of that nature. In fact, I would dare say that even if they turn out to be impossible, I would imagine that they are kind of small and simple enough that we shouldn't need to have, you know, we shouldn't need to spend that much time with either of them before we can feel fairly ready to move on with our lives. Lord Bromley's estate and Q's armory are two of the original games, or rather the two original games, two of the three that were packaged in the James Bond 007 action pack, which is a pretty interesting product. And we're going to take a little bit of a closer look. We're going to do something a little bit different today than perhaps we have for previous Games Bond entries, and something that I think will be more relevant and more recurring as we move forward, which is that we're going to be taking a little bit of a closer look at some surrounding materials and try to get a little bit of context for the games before we dive into them. But all in due time. We'll do a little bit of casual just chatting before we get to the main event of today's stream. It was finally announced the other day that there will be a big Street Fighter 6 stream event of some kind. There had been, of course, a somewhat conspicuous lack of news given Evo Japan and all that, and it seemed a little bit unclear when the next sort of checkpoint would be for the Street Fighter 6 marketing campaign and what to expect, when to expect it. But Capcom eventually clarified by announcing whatever they're calling it, the Street Fighter 6 something or other, which will be happening on Thursday, April the 20th. It'll be, I think, late at night, my time zone. And under, well, I was going to say under some circumstances I might be streaming it, although Capcom's usually a little bit stringent with restreaming rules, so I guess I probably wouldn't. But it doesn't actually matter. It's a moot point because I will actually be traveling. I will be out of town at that time. So I'm not even sure. I'm like a little bit unsure of when and how I will get to watch that show. I'll be excited to see. I'm sure I'll be able to catch news on Twitter and whatnot, but I'm a little bummed that you know, I don't travel very often, but I happen to be traveling at that time, and I will be away next weekend. So we'll see. But either way, it will be exciting to see what kind of news and stuff we'll get from that event. Presumably, we might get a little bit of a closer look at some of the game modes and stuff we haven't seen yet. For several reasons, there's a lot of kind of expectations that we'll see the announcement of some kind of demo or beta test or what have you. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of that. But either way, you know, I'm of course super all in on getting that game and playing it. I'm very excited for it. So new stuff come out of it, always fun. In other unrelated news, I went to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie on Thursday. Yeah, sounds about right. It was pretty good. I was a little not disappointed by any means. Underwhelmed, is that a fair way of putting it, maybe? Not because I necessarily went in expecting that much, so to speak, at least not based on the marketing of the film. But I was kind of surprised in the last few weeks hearing people really kind of raving about the D&D movie in a way that seemed kind of unexpected for what kind of movie it is and everything. Or, you know, just the quality of what it looked like. And, like, I guess people talked about it in a way that made it sound like it was some kind of transcendent work. And I really don't think that was the case. So I think if I hadn't heard anyone say anything about it, I would have probably came out of it thinking, oh, you know, that was not bad. Like, there was nothing really to complain about. But having, like, going into it with the context of hearing people really raving about it, I'm kind of left wondering, like, what exactly were people raving about? Because there was, like, nothing to complain about, really, but I didn't feel like there were that many things to get, like, particularly excited about either. I mean, expectations and kind of how your mental state of going into watching a film will have a lot of impact on your experience, I suppose. But I find it funny that I watched the Mario movie and D&D in the same week, and I wouldn't have expected, I guess, to have felt that the Mario movie delivered kind of beyond my expectations, or like in ways that I didn't expect, and for the D&D movie to kind of not do that at all. I mean, just based on how people were talking about them, I guess. People have been very positive on both films, which I suppose is not undeserved. I guess I just felt that even the positive buzz I'd heard about the Mario movie didn't fill me with confidence that I would enjoy it. Whereas I was, I guess, a little bit more hopeful based on the way people were speaking of the D&D film. But you know, I was happy to happy to watch them both. Thrilled, of course, that I was able to catch a screening of Mario in English before they stopped showing it in English, and it's all just the Swedish version, which I have zero interest in watching. But yeah, there's been a lot of good movies coming out recently. I've extremely enjoyed Creed 3 and John Wick 4. And there's a whole bunch of movies coming out over the next few months that I'm excited to watch, and it'll be fun to see which ones kind of which ones are actually going to be legitimately good, which ones are going to be you know, whatever, but at least entertaining, and which ones will fall completely flat, because I reckon we'll probably get a little bit of each category. Think you'd go Portuguese for Mario? Well, I mean, I can't speak for any other local dubs, but here it's like, you know, I think things are probably a little bit different now than when I grew up. But when I grew up, it's like the only thing that would ever be dubbed would be like children's media, and with English literacy being as good as it was even then, it seemed like it always seemed strange to me to imagine who the target demographic would be for anything that is translated or dubbed to Swedish, like if they are above the age of like 5. It's the same thing with like games and computer software and stuff. Like I remember seeing, it's just a random example, but like when Street Fighter 4 came out on PC, they added localization, not voices, but, you know, text, wind quotes, and whatever else, like all the text in the game, to like 17 new languages. And Swedish was one of them. And I was just utterly baffled as to who could possibly be, you know, the target demographic. Like, where's the overlap between Street Fighter players, people who are interested in playing Street Fighter, and people who are like either don't understand or don't want content in English? It's just like unfathomable to me. It's really strange. I mean, I don't think it's not strange that a movie like Mario gets dubbed in Swedish. I mean, obviously 5-year-olds, I think, is a core target demographic of that film. But being that it's always been such a limited thing to like kids stuff, or at least when I grew up, there is like a certain, there tends to be a kind of lack of quality to it, or just like the nature of it. It's just not like a normal regular thing the way it might be if you're in like Germany or Italy or like a lot of other European countries, I reckon. So I think it's definitely kind of a cultural difference. What are other movies I'm excited for? Well, let's see what I can remember off the top of my head. I'm certainly very excited for Across the Spider-Verse. Certainly am guaranteed to go watch Fast X, aka Fast 10 Your Seatbelts. I mean, that's the movies haven't been like super great ever since. I mean, they've been kind of on a declining curve since 5, but they're always a good time. That's going to be a blast for sure. What else is coming out? I'm like curious. I don't know exactly what to make of it, but I'm curious about the new Indiana Jones. Yeah, what's up, Arun G? Cheers. You know what? Let me bring up my cinema app watch list thing, because I legitimately am like struggling to remember any of it. There's like that Flash movie, which I've only seen a trailer for the trailer, because when I went to see Creed or whatever it was, the theater had a trailer for the trailer. They showed like a sizzle reel of shots from the Flash trailer, and then they said, watch the full trailer online. I'm like, okay, that's a way of doing things, sure. Actually, the most fucked thing is when I saw D&D, I saw an even weirder thing where there was basically a teaser trailer for the Dungeons and Dragons movie, i.e. the movie I was sat down to watch. Like, after all the commercials and everything, there was like a white screen with the movie's like title logo in the corner, and there was this like 30-second to a minute long clip of like a dragon sort of as if it was like poking through the movie screen. Like it was so weird. It was just this long clip that's like promoting the film that I'm like, well, yeah, you could just stop promoting the film and I could get to watch it 30 seconds sooner. I don't get what the point of this is. It's so weird. I've never seen anything like that. What's up, Macaw 45? We will enter Lord Bromley's estate soon enough. Yeah, so the Flash, like, I don't know, but I'm curious at least. Mission Impossible is out in July. Oh yeah, the Barbie movie, and that seems very interesting. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Actually, there weren't that many more on the list. A lot of them I've actually already watched at this point. But there's a couple of movies coming up for sure. I mean, there's obviously going to be more, but there's been like a string of movies. I haven't been to the theater that much over the past 6 months to a year. But we're going heavy into movie season. I mean, we're knee deep in it. Speaking of films, the poll on my Discord has been decided, and tonight Discord movie night continues. The people cannot get enough of terrible Resident Evil movies. Paul W.S. Anderson, try as he might, cannot satiate the need of the people. So tonight we will continue by watching 2021's Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. A movie that I don't know that much about, other than the fact that it was like fairly universally reviled. No one liked that movie. It like sets out to be sort of more of a faithful adaptation in terms of like, I guess the plot and the characters and whatever than the Anderson films. But apparently it's also like incredibly stupid and everyone hates it, so I'm excited to watch it. We'll be watching that at 9 p.m. tonight. I was literally just about to link my Discord, but Nightbot's got me covered. If you would like to hang out and watch Welcome to Raccoon City, feel free to click that link and check out the Movie Zone. And we will be watching that from 9 p.m. Central European Summer Time, which is, I guess, in about 7.5 hours. But yeah, I think that's enough just chatting. Why don't we head into the Bond zone, and we will do a little bit of I was gonna say research, not really. I will do a little bit of a presentation, I guess, on the research that I have done, which is fairly limited, but it will provide a little bit of context to the James Bond 007 action pack. So let's check it out. Lord Bromley's Estate is game number 1 of 3, featured within the action pack. Let us see here. In fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we let this thing do the talking here? Let me just double check that this is all set up correctly. All right, let's give this a shot. Hopefully this works.
Right, pay attention, Bond. This is the Sinclair ZX Spectrum Plus 2. It's a fully operational computer with 128K memory, but it comes with 3 James Bond games and a light gun that fires armor-piercing shells. Now that's your assignment. No, don't sit in that chair. Sorry, Bond. Haven't perfected that yet. The Sinclair ZX Spectrum Plus 2.
Well, there you have it. Says just about everything you would need to know, but we can dig a little bit deeper. Obviously, again, these came bundled together, and they are actually kind of part of the same experience. I do think it's worthy listing them as separate games, but they kind of tie into a common narrative and a common package. Spectrum's still going strong in 1990, for sure. So let's see. There we go. Here is the ZX Spectrum Plus 2 James Bond 007 action pack. And I was looking around a little bit, and I found some pretty interesting like information, articles and videos and stuff. And you can find more in-depth looks at the contents of the box from more dedicated Spectrum streamers and YouTubers than myself. So I'm speaking from kind of secondhand experience here. But it looked to be a pretty elaborate package. It came with not just the computer, but I guess a joystick, as well as the Magnum Light phaser, of course. And then some software and some feelies, even. Let's see if we can do this. So this was like pretty cool, pretty elaborate. It had the little manila envelope with the like letter from Q or whatever, or from M, I guess. The little passport, which is like the manual, and the 2 tapes. So the 2 tapes contain the 3 games as well as the audio briefing from Q himself. The first tape contains Lord Bromley's estate as well as Q's armory. The second tape contains the so-called Zero mission as well as the audio briefing. And it's kind of cool because, so as you may have guessed from the box, if you're familiar with Bond artwork, the major, like the main illustration on the box right there is the cover art, or the poster rather, for The Living Daylights. In 1990, the most recent Bond film and game was, of course, License to Kill. But for whatever reason, they saw fit to bundle The Living Daylights. Alright, let's get rid of some... there we go. One explanation for why they would have gone with The Living Daylights is because, unlike License to Kill, it would have been sort of possible to actually adapt it for kind of light gun controls, which is something that they apparently did, and I would love to take a closer look at, but from my limited experience, my limited time messing around with it, I have not been able to get that version of the game running. We have, of course, taken a very thorough look at multiple versions of The Living Daylights, but if we have time for it, and if I'm able to crowdsource some technical support, it would be interesting to take a look at. But in any case, as we will see, or perhaps hear, this bundle is not just a bundle of like a couple of different games. It is its own kind of self-contained narrative, and it is kind of weird because there's a lot of peculiar inconsistencies that seem to point towards either a lack of care or budget, or things just changing last minute, or I'm not sure. But basically all 3 games have at least 2 different titles that appear in different places. Some of the details given in the briefing of the game itself, the written materials, and the tape recording are like inconsistent with each other. And the storyline and kind of instructions for Zero Mission are not at all accurate to what actually is featured in the Living Daylights game. It's a little weird. But it's also kind of cool in sort of its ambition. And if everything I'm talking about sounds confusing and all over the place, things will hopefully get a little bit clearer as we take a closer look at some of the materials. I did not have the ability or foresight to get all of the written materials, the manuals and everything available. If people happen to have links to it, do feel free to post them in chat, and we'll see if we can maybe take a look if need be. But from what little I've seen, between the audio tapes, which I do have, and the in-game briefings, I think we'll be okay in terms of like knowing what to do or understanding how to get through the games. But you know, experience has taught us that having access to manuals can be a lifesaver. Computer Machine Music, hello there, welcome, welcome. And everybody else, of course, also welcome and happy Saturday. So, Before we dig into those materials, why don't we take a look at our regular briefing materials here. Mission number 10, Lord Bromley's estate. Of course, as established, released in 1990 for the ZX Spectrum. Developed by Divide by Zero and published by Domark, who held the Bond license at the time. 007 has been invited to Lord Bromley's estate for a clay pigeon shoot, but not all is what it seems, as European ambassador guests are at risk from terrorist assassination. Released as part of the James Bond 007 Action Pack bundle, this title was developed to support the new light gun accessory, the Magnum Light Phaser. The game featured Desmond Llewellyn playing Q on the audio cassette, explaining the backstory and mission. Of course, we will take a listen too. Big Bond gaming coming up for sure. Rare retro light gun painted black before they started painting them orange so they wouldn't look so real. I mean, I think that's mostly a Europe or an American thing, though. I don't think we had too much of that. Well, I mean, I guess in America at some point they just stopped putting them out at all. But you know, in some cases here in Europe, we would get some like hand-me-downs. Like the NES Zapper was redesigned, like the Japanese Wild Gunman gun was just a revolver. And I think the Gray Zapper was discontinued quickly enough that by the time that stuff was released in Europe, we got the red one. But the interesting thing about this one, I think, the Magnum Light Phaser, is that it actually bears fairly significant resemblance to the Master System Light Phaser, which has a very similar name as well. Also, I just realized, as people are paying their fight tax, I think I forgot to set something up here. I have been doing a little bit of stream setup stuff. This morning I had a little bit of time, so I was doing some VOD highlighting. I'm posting some stuff to YouTube and whatnot, and I made some update to some stuff in StreamerBot, which I appear to have failed to yeah, there we go. There's an action set up here that I forgot to assign. Let's see if I can figure that out. There we go. Anyway, the idea of a light gun for the ZX Spectrum, when I first heard about this, I was flabbergasted. Like, how is this even possible? It seems a little bit crazy. But we will see. You know, I'm not an expert, but I have some semblance of an idea of how stuff like the Master System gun and the NES Zapper works. And this is kind of similar, but it works on a kind of, well, you'll see when we see the game in action. I think it'll be clear what is happening. Just kind of novel and interesting, but still mostly just baffling. We can take a quick look here at Mission 11, Q's Armory. 007 must successfully train with one of Q's new weapons in the MI6 underground shooting range before taking on his next mission. It's pretty much all the description we get there. Everything else is just about the same. It's a broccoli donut. More elastic band action? Well, let's hope not. But yeah, so as mentioned, Tape 1 contains Lord Bromley's estate and Q's Armory. And Tape 2 contains Zero Mission and the briefing. And the way the games are structured is that they are basically 3 chapters of the same kind of story, the same game. Where Lord Bromley's estate kind of acts as like the prologue, where Bond and MI6 kind of gather intel and learn what's going on. Q's Armory is like the pre-mission training, where Bond has to familiarize himself with the Q gadgets and, I don't know, do some shooting at a shooting range to prove himself worthy, or whatever you do those things for. Just gotta fill a quota of some kind to qualify. And then the third and final part is the mission itself, which is just the living daylights. So we've watched the movie, we've played the games, and the living daylights has a plot which does not involve Lord Bromley's estate or European ambassadors or anything like that. But in this universe, it does. So the third game is the Living Daylights, and it has been modified to be played with light gun controls. As I said, I was not able to get this game. I mean, I've been able to get it up and running, but I can't get past the title screen, so I'm not sure. There's something, I guess, about how the joysticks and controllers are supposed to be set up that I can't quite get figured out in the emulator. But from what I saw in a YouTube video, it is a light gun controlled game where you hold a space bar to have Bond run forward, and you do all the shooting with the light gun. If you guys don't recall, the way the Living Daylights works in the original release from 1987, you kind of it's like a crosshair shooter crossed with a side scroller. So Bond has to run across the bottom of the screen while jumping over obstacles and rolling under things and whatever. And if you, like, while enemies appear in the background, you tap left and a crosshair appears on the screen. You can aim it around the screen and shoot. And then you pull this crosshair over to the edge of the screen.
Unspeakable horror awaits.
And then you start running. So you have to toggle between running and shooting, and it's incredibly clunky. Lamazar, thank you very, very much for 34 juries of unspeakable horror. Greatly appreciate that, and thank you to everyone paying their fight tax. Brand freshly new, accompanied by a little audio cue, which I feel is like maybe a little bit loud. But we'll let me just make a slight adjustment to that, and we'll see if hopefully that doesn't get too obnoxious. Let me just adjust this, and I'll turn it down just a smidge. That's fine. So I always thought, you know, that game was cool, but it plays very clunkily. And it was a bit of a challenge to get through some stages. Like, half of the game is fine, and then it becomes impossible. And part of what makes it impossible is that, like, switching between running and shooting takes way too long, and it's, like, really awkward. So, you know, even then I was like, well, you know, if you had a button to toggle between running and shooting, and, like, the reticle didn't have to be awkwardly and slowly dragged away from the corner of the screen every time, but it would, like, appear in the center of the screen or wherever you left it or something like that, it would work a lot better. So the idea of this version having not only light gun aiming, so you can actually shoot the targets way faster, but also, like, sort of automated Bond movement by just holding the space bar. From what I saw in the video of someone playing it, it looked as if Bond, like, automatically dodges the obstacles, which otherwise you have to, like, jump over, and if you, like, trip on a rock, you lose health, and it's like the jumping is really finicky. So I'm actually curious. Like, I saw, you know, the same video I watched, the person said that the shooting is pretty shit, like it's not accurate and it doesn't work well. So I don't know that it's ultimately the better way of playing the game, but it's really intriguing that they even went back to, you know, to make it, to implement that kind of feature. As impressive as it may be that they went back to the game and added light gun controls, they apparently did not change anything else. For example, they didn't change the title of the game. So even though it's written on the cassette, Zero Mission, when you pop it in and you load it, the title screen says The Living Daylights. The game itself doesn't have a lot of plot or text. So I guess there wasn't much text to rewrite. But, you know, they explained in the briefing that Bond has to go in alone, and then, like, in the second stage, you escort Koskov, and there's no explanation for who that is. There's not a lot of explanation for why you go to an amusement park and have to, like, shoot this guy throwing balloons at you. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch compared to the movie scene, but at least you have the context of that to make sense of it. There's some stuff like that that's a little goofy and a little inconsistent. But it's pretty fun. You know, it's a fun idea to kind of create this new backstory and context for this main game, and then kind of I don't know, it feels like a very European microcomputer thing to do, of just we have this game, let's just write a new story for it. And it doesn't quite add up, but, you know, kids can use their imagination. They can read this very cool top secret passport document and get excited, and then if the game itself is something totally different, we got their money already, it's fine. Yeah, Father Axe Keeper, I too, like, even just putting together the list of games to play for this project was like a very an eye-opening experience. Learning about the existence of a lot of games, and these were definitely ones that kind of stood out as, like, conceptually, like, I struggle to imagine these kind of things existing. But there's a lot of other games, you know, some more kind of mainstream and popular than others, that I'm, you know, some of the more well-regarded later Bond games that I'm just excited to play, because I've never played most of them. And then you have, like, the stuff that no one's heard of. You know, there's a good amount of mobile games on the list. You know, there's the mobile phone tie-in to the novel about young James Bond in boarding school that has, you know, that's a pretty exciting game. I don't think many people have played that. There's, like, so many Java games and stuff. It's gonna be pretty fun. So yeah, we are nearing the end of the initial kind of first leg of Euro computer Bond gaming. It's not, you know, we're not quite out of the woods. These aren't the last games, but we're nearing the end. And then we have that awkward transitional period of 8/16-bit console games, and there's I guess 4 of them altogether. There's 2 versions of James Bond Jr. and 2 versions of James Bond the Duel. And then there's a bit of a gap before the kind of 3D era that kicks off with GoldenEye. And yeah, this project has been super fun so far, and it doesn't, you know, it's showing no signs of slowing down. Well, why don't we take a listen to Q. Speaking of, the last mission we completed was, of course, the let's see here, secret mission number 2, Aqua Base. With that done and dusted, the Q Branch Research Funding Initiative has been opened anew. I was kind of looking over the maths of how this all worked out, and I wasn't sure exactly where to put the goal, but ever since reaching the last goal of 15,000, or yeah, because I'd set like 25,000, and then we reached that, and then I lowered the goal because it took a little longer than I had thought to reach the first goal, and then the second goal was reached like instantly. So we're kind of splitting the difference here, and we're counting the 10,000 or so Q credits earned past the 15,000 goal last time, and just say, you know what, we don't need to increase the goal. We'll stay at 15,000, and we'll see when we reach that goal. So any subscriptions, bits, donations, merch purchases, etc., any contribution to the channel will be forwarded to Q Branch, and when they have enough financial support, they will be able to deliver the necessary technology to deploy the next secret mission. With that out of the way, why don't we listen to the briefing tape to learn everything we need to know about Lord Bromley and his estate. Lord MP83 raiding with a party of 12. Excellent timing, friends. We're just about to learn all the details about our mission to shoot some clay pigeons at Lord Bromley's estate. For those of you who are new and unfamiliar, I'm Jiggy. I'm a weird person who plays even weirder games. I do all kinds of stuff, a lot of old Japanese games and what have you. But among my several stupid ideas of things to do on the internet, I have decided to chronicle the history of James Bond video games, computer games, mobile games, and what have you. And the time has come today to check out the James Bond 007 Action Pack, which contains a set of light gun games for the ZX Spectrum released in 1990, which is a sentence that just never manages to get any less amazing, no matter how many times I repeat it. Shaken Not Stirred was in fact secret mission number 1. We played this a while back. It was a pretty incredible unlicensed Bond adventure. Icarus subscribing for 2 months. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the support. Please enjoy your unspeakable horrors. Shaken But Not Stirred was played earlier this year. VODs should be up somewhere on YouTube and/or on Twitch. If not, they should be up shortly. If you would like to check out previous VODs and whatnot, you can find links as well as information on upcoming games on the official spreadsheet, which reminds me that it's time to update some information here. 2023-04-15 is the start date of Lord Bromley's estate. Yes, I do in fact not have links. Let me just double check real quick. I know that the Stealth Affair stuff just went live on YouTube. Yeah, Shaken But Not Stirred is up there as well. So you can find it on my YouTube. In fact, let me add that link right now. Because I will certainly forget otherwise. There we go. There's a little YouTube link right there. Anyway, where was I? We're playing Bond games, and we're playing the James Bond Action Pack. This game came with a bunch of cool stuff, including the light gun, the Magnum light phaser, as well as 2 tapes containing the games, as well as an audio briefing from Mr. Anything for a Paycheck, Desmond Llewellyn as Q. So if we can get this sorted again, I got myself a little sidetracked here. Let us let's take a listen, shall we? See if I can figure this out. What do we open this with? That'll be... Sure, this should work.
Ah, there you are, 007. I thought you were never going to answer. Now, sorry we had to conceal this radio receiver in your new shotgun stock, which is the only way we could be sure of contacting you. If you will go on holiday, I must say I do rather envy you. Lord Brockley's clay pigeon shoots are always very relaxing. Just hope it stays that way. Now, Brockley's got some pretty important guests there. A trio of cabinet ministers and several ambassadors. I'm sorry, 007, but you weren't invited just to enjoy the country air. Now, 002 has reported strange happenings along the Turkish coast. About a week ago, a tiny little fishing village was swamped by foreigners. They're a mixed bunch, all nationalities, but they knew each other. And he heard them talking about low-level helicopter flying. He's definitely onto something, but we don't know what. His body was washed up yesterday in the south of France, almost 2,000 miles from where he was last seen alive. Now, I'm sure you can see the urgency of the situation. Brockley's playing host to some of the most important people in Europe, and we can't take any chances. So, keep your eyes open, 007. And if anything untoward should happen, well, I'm sure you'll deal with it with your usual efficiency.
Stop the tape here and play the next section.
All right, there we have it. Let's get ready to play the next section, shall we? Yeah, it's pretty cool that they put the music. I think the music is from License to Kill, actually. It's not from the Living Daylights game. The little stage complete jingle at the end of the message. But yeah, it's really cool. Like it's a great. I mean, if you're shipping this thing with tapes anyway, it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to get Desmond Llewellyn, to record, 10 minutes of audio. He is, we'll see more of him and hear more of him, I am sure, over the course of the next however many games, in terms of marketing materials and whatnot. I reckon there's probably more than a few games that feature no other voices from actual film actors, but Q gets like extended dialogue scenes. I don't know that to be a fact. It's just something I fully expect. All right. Let's see here. Let's get the timer on screen here, so we can accurately record the how long this takes. So let's see. Get my my Spectrum up and running. So let's see that we have the capture all set up. All right, so it's all set for the EI99 capture. There we go. That looks correct. So now how does this look on? Okay, perfect. Because I have the mouse cursor visible on my. So this is the little light gun reticle. This is like not part of the computer. That's just like the emulator overlay. I have the actual Windows mouse cursor on top of this, which kind of looks very whack, but you guys don't have to put up with that. Let me see if I can make this video. This window a little larger. There we go. That's a little better for me. All right. Let's open. Oh yeah, that's not okay. Yes. Well, I have a few versions of it, I think. Well, no matter. We should have it here somewhere. There we go. Lord Bromley's estate. Start the timer. Lord Bromley's Estate. Program copyright 1990 Domark Limited. James Bond, blah, blah, blah. Program by divide by 0. Here we go. You, Secret Agent James Bond, have been invited to Lord Bromley's country estate to do some clay pigeon shooting. Unfortunately, Spectre have other ideas. So, you guys may or may not have already noticed a bit of a discrepancy. Also, let me turn down the audio a little bit. I'm assuming these are clay pigeon noises happening in the background here, and hopefully not emulator explosions. Do I? All right, fine, whatever. In the tape, Q refers to Lord Broccoli's estate. There's clearly a reference to the film producers, but for some reason or another, at some point, it was changed to Bromley. We also see reference to Spectre here, which I believe will be referred to by a different name later on. Let's just pull the trigger and see if this audio situation changes. Yeah, in the tape, he says Lord Broccoli. Like I said before, there's some interesting inconsistencies between the audio tape, the written manual, and the games themselves. So I think, I forget what I saw in the video, if the title that's written physically on the tape cassette itself was different, if that may also have said Lord Broccoli's estate. I think it might have. But as we see in the title screen, it says Lord Bromley's estate. You have 40 clays, shoot 10 to complete this level. Shoot 10 clays. Alright. Oop, alright, there we go. Seems easy enough with the mouse. Sure what's going on with the audio, but hey, it's a Spectrum game. So you may have noticed here what's happening when I'm firing the gun. You may be familiar again with the process of, you know, the NES Zapper, for example, having these like collision boxes of sorts, like these light flashing boxes around the targets on screen, and they flash in like a specific order with a specific timing, and the light sensor in the gun itself can recognize if it's pointing at a light. Like there's basically a timer that sort of starts when you pull the trigger, and the time it takes between the trigger having been pulled and the light sensor in the muzzle kind of detecting that you were pointing at a thing lets you know whether you were pointing at the thing, and it should register a hit. So this is kind of doing the same thing, except I guess on kind of a smaller like subsection of the screen, kind of doing it a line by line thing, which is what you would get on more modern light guns. I mean, keep in mind, this is of course, if this gun and software was developed in 1990, that's a good number of years after the NES light gun technology. Because I'm not even sure, like Wild Gunman in Japan would have probably been 1985, like at the latest. I'm not entirely sure, but it's like, you know, on some level, as absurd as it might sound, it kind of makes sense that this gun might be slightly more technically sophisticated than the NES Zapper. Whatever the case may be, using a mouse cursor to emulate the functionality of the light gun. Also, now my mouse cursor is visible. What the heck? Let me check my capture settings. Okay, the cursor is enabled there. I could swear that it wasn't visible before. There we go. Okay, that looks better. Weird. Anyway, clear 3 groups. Oh, does that mean I have to shoot all 3 pigeons 3 times? I don't know. I'm just gonna try to shoot everything. Cool. My first shot like just didn't register. Luckily my gun is like semi-automatic, I guess. Okay, we get like different objectives here. Shoot 5 clays in a row. Pull trigger to start level. This is like really fast and snappy. Like if the light gun actually functions properly, I feel like this could actually be kind of fun. You know, I'm reminded of the clay pigeon shooting in like track and field. And you always have like, or like as you would in real life, I guess, you have like limited ammo, and then but here you can just kind of shoot however. It's pretty nice. This game seems to really capture the James Bond spirit. I mean, you get to fire a gun. You get briefings by Q. You know, sure, the concept of standing on a shooting range shooting clay pigeons doesn't feel in itself as the most exciting of Bond adventures. But in the larger context of like how it fits into the narrative, I don't think it's, you know, it actually in a way captures the Bond experience in a very different way, because for better or for worse, just about every Bond game tends to kind of throw you right into the actiony, exciting parts. But, you know, I'm thinking of stuff like A View to a Kill or whatever, which coincidentally had a game adaptation where you did fuck around at the estate during the horse auction or whatever. But like Bond going undercover, or like, you know, a clay pigeon shooting sequence turning into like finding out secret information about Turkish terrorist meetings or whatever, you know, that doesn't seem super out of place. But sure, without that crucial context, if you just were to load up this game and play it, like you'd be forgiven for looking at this and not realizing that it's a James Bond game. All right, 5 clays in a row. Let's see if we can do it. I missed one. I missed. I'm 4 in a row. Oh shit. Okay. I think I fucked up. We got it. Okay. So you have to, like, 5 in a row means not just 5 clay pigeons have to be hit, but also you cannot miss any shots, is what I realized right towards the end there. You have 40 clays, shoot 10 to complete this level. Are we advancing towards the estate here? This seems a little unsafe, by the way, shooting in the direction of a building here. So I guess, does this mean we can afford to miss 30 of them? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the audio, but hey, it's a Spectrum game. Oh shit, they're coming from the right. A lot faster now. Alright, just gotta fire. What? Whoa! Okay, we just barely got that. Clear 3 groups. It's getting harder, that's for sure. I need to get my my full esports mousepad range here. Maybe I shouldn't have made my emulator window larger. Alright, okay. Holy shit, okay. Dude! Okay, we got 1 group. Fuck, they're so fucking fast. Except for when they're not. Okay, that was 1 group. 1 left. Dude! Oh, okay, that was 1. Dude, it's gonna be pretty hard. I don't know if this game has an end or anything, by the way. Maybe that would have been good to know, but we'll see what happens. Dude, I mean, it seems like it's kind of looping the mission sort of objectives. But as long as we're getting like harder levels and especially new backgrounds, it seems safe to assume that something's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, you know, we can always play this for as long as we want to play it, and then we can just decide to listen to the next briefing and start playing the next game. So we'll be able to get through this. What's up, Megami Infinity? This is like that other game on the Duck Hunt engine. I guess Duck Hunt did have... Did Duck Hunt have like a clay pigeon thing? I don't know. I haven't played any NES shooting stuff in about 25 plus years, so I'm not super familiar. But I mentioned, I want to say there was some version, maybe it was Track and Field 2. I know there was some like Track and Field clay pigeon shooting something or other on the NES. There's a trap mode in Duck Hunt. Yeah, that sounds like vaguely familiar, but yeah, I have not played Duck Hunt. Like the NES gun game that I play the most was by far Gumshoe, because I actually owned a cartridge of that. I have played Duck Hunt. I have played Hogan's Alley. I have occasionally played some other stuff. Like, I think I might have tried the light gun stuff in, I don't know, what's called Bio Billy or whatever. But even like any of that would have been a very long time ago. This is indeed a ZX Spectrum joint. I'm not playing on real hardware, which is probably just as well. But we are emulating the mouse, or sorry, the light gun using a mouse, and I'm, you know, I'm happy to do whatever it takes to experience this game, and if it means a slightly more humane experience, then that's probably for the better. Anyway, 5 plays in a row. Let's see if we can do this. So I wonder. I determined during the last time we had this objective that firing and missing resets your streak. So you can always see in the bottom right, like, your current, like, where you're at, like 5 remaining. And as soon as I just shoot and miss, this went up to 5 again. But if I let a pigeon fly past the screen and I don't shoot at all, I wonder if that resets it also. I definitely hope it doesn't, so that I can focus on shooting 5 that I can, like, confidently aim at and hit. But we'll see. At this point, any stage could easily be the last. Ah, see, I missed one. Okay, let's... Whenever they're, like, lower down here, they're, like, super hard to hit. Oof. Just barely got it. Whew. Literally the last one. Don't even want to think how to stream all this from real hardware. Not worth it. No, that's definitely true. Definitely true. I mean, light gun stuff adds like orders of magnitude new layers of complexity on top of everything to do with old PAL computers and whatever else. Played a Bond games on Atari 800. Felt overly unfair and broken, then you realized you're playing PAL game in NTSC. That doesn't help. But some of the older ones are definitely not really made for humans under any circumstances. Alright, so for this one I have to hit half of them. I have to hit 20. Okay, let's give it a shot. Holy shit, okay. Like, you get a little bit of respite of the game, like pausing to check the aim when you shoot. You can, like, use that brief moment of time to reposition your reticle. But that doesn't work when you have to be, like, accurate and not miss shots. Okay, 5 groups. Level 8, 1 left. I didn't really pay too close attention to this window. Oh, I missed one. Ah, I missed it. Hard to tell which, like... It can be hard to tell where one group ends and one begins. And sometimes you just click 3 times and you don't shoot once. Okay, that was a group apparently. What was that? Okay, I think we cleared the level. Yeah, level 9. 10 in a row. This is going to be hard as shit. Yeah, of course. NTSC, like, PAL games running in NTSC will run 20% faster, and many of these games, the way they're designed, like, they're not very fair an easy, you know, under any circumstance. So having it run 20% faster and not necessarily 20% more responsive definitely will not make them easier. I missed. Okay, it registered, like, it counted as a miss, but there was, like, no collision check. That's very cool. Okay. But I can afford to have them fly off screen, like, that doesn't reset my streak, at least. I'm probably failing this level. You failed to meet your quota. Pull trigger to continue. Your score is 2,700. I mean, that was not a bad run. That was not a bad run. But I was like close-ish, but the one after that might have been tough. I have no idea if like we'll give it a few more attempts. We've been playing this game for 17 minutes. You know, we're not in an extreme hurry to move on. Depending perhaps on how much like unique content there is, but I want to see if I can get past that other screen. I'm gonna try to restart though to see if the audio behaves any differently. Like, I'm just confused because I booted this up and I don't recall having like that audio shit going on, but it could very well be that I literally tried it for 10 seconds and I just didn't pay attention. So let me try this again. See if it's any different. I guess not. Okay. So let's check again of what's going on here. So on the bottom right, you see your current objective. On the bottom left, you see your score, and then what level you're on. And I guess left, it tells you how many what are they called? Groups of clay pigeons are left before the stage is over. So this kind of like how many remaining chances you have. 3 left. Oh, okay, no, it's clay pigeon in the current group. I see. I really don't know how the score is calculated, by the way. Okay, so I guess the stage like ended when I met my quota. We didn't like have to wait through 40 clay pigeons. I guess that makes sense. Okay, clear 3 groups. So in this one, yeah, there's 3 clay pigeons in each group. Okay, no, so the groups are not... I see. So the groups are of different size. So the last group I shot was just a 2, and there was a group of 4. I thought they were always the same size. I guess not. 5 in a row. Oh, okay, well, we got 1 there. 1 in a row left. And I missed. This one is easily the most fucked. I literally clicked on it and it just like didn't check the... Like sometimes the screen flashing just doesn't happen at all. Like there, yep. Like you can see when the game sort of stutters and my streak goes back up to 5. That's when I shoot and the game just like doesn't bother registering whether I shot. I wonder if it's like I'm on a specific line of pixel. I don't know. I guess we cleared it. That was fucked. If I can't do it on that stage, like it's never gonna get it for the later stages. Dude, why is it getting worse and worse? Although I wonder if it's like... No, maybe not. I'm gonna say if it's like something to do with where on the screen it is. Like I noticed on this area, I was like having severe trouble registering shots. I think I have one other tape image of this game. Dude, I clicked like 3 times. But I guess it would make no sense for a different tape image to behave any differently. Okay, I got it. 5 clays in a row. Like, you kind of have to identify... Missed one, yeah. What part of the screen it's, like, safe to attempt to shoot. Like, this is not one. Yeah, got it. Okay, so I gotta hit 20 clays. Got it. Now I'm a fucking sniper. Okay, that didn't register. I can't help but feel that I'm like in between like gaps of collision checking like areas or something. Oops. Okay, clear 5 groups. Nice. 3. Ah, I missed one. 2. Nice. Fuck! That is infuriating. Okay. 2 more. 1 more. Oh, fuck. Oh, dude, I clicked like 6 times. Okay, we got it. 10 in a row. This is the PB, I guess. Yeah, level 9. Wait, what? We got 2,700. That was our high score. But I reset, so we lost it. Okay. Oh! Like, you can tell that the game registers that I've fired because it resets the streak. But it's like not even making an attempt to check if I hit something. And I can't quite make sense of when that does or doesn't happen. Well, okay, that was a clear miss. Yeah, this stage is like pretty impossible, I feel like. It's just really tough to not have that bad luck. Alright. Let me, just for the sake of it, let me try opening other image I had, just to see if it's any different. I don't know if it's like the same dump or... I think it's on here. Tape 1, side A. Actually, let me restart. I'm not sure how this emulator deals with trying to load stuff in the middle of doing something else, so let's just reset it and see if this is any different. I would expect not to have the same delightful audio. The ambiance of Lord Bromley's estate, aka Lord Broccoli. Yep, okay, that shit still doesn't work. Maybe we just gotta put like pieces of tape on your TV to like mark the safe areas to try and shoot. Dude! Like, when the shots don't register, like, 3 to 4 rounds in a row, like, you click 4 times and not one register. Like, the accuracy is not, you know, you don't have to be that precise. You just have to have your shots count. See? Like... Oh, yeah, we got it. And also, as soon as you meet your quota, the clay pigeons on screen will continue moving, but you're not able to shoot. So that can also feel, like, weirdly unresponsive. But that's just how it goes. Alright. 10 more clays. Like, I guess just don't bother with anyone that doesn't go above the tree line. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I clicked like 3 times! But, oh no, I met my quota. Is Lord Bromley a 007? I mean, I don't know that there are multiple 007s. Certainly not at one time. And we are 007, so that would preclude the possibility of Lord Bromley being a 007. But it's got a nice house. So I do wonder if we ever, like, will we actually learn any, like, will the game present any kind of information? I have a feeling that we've seen, well, I don't want to say that we've seen what there's to see. There's probably more backgrounds. There could very well be. But I think the game's gameplay will probably, you know, keep sort of looping. And whenever we decide to listen to the next tape, Q will explain what intelligence we were able to gather while shooting clay pigeons. All right, 3 groups. Here's the tricky part. For this one, you can't just elect to ignore ones that are hard to hit. Because you have to shoot all of them in a given group. I got it. Okay, nice. But for 5 in a row, we have to be selective. Gonna try to go for that one. Ah, that one didn't register. Okay, we got it. 20, like it's all fine up to like level 8 and 9. Even this is like, you can kind of spray and pray and you'll be mostly fine. Like, yep, not every shot will register, but you've got enough leeway. It's pretty satisfying when you just nail it, though. 4 more? There we go. Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what's happening? Oh, right, it continues the whole group. Clear 5 groups. Yes, this is part of the 007 Action Pack. A set of 2 original light gun games and a rejiggered version of The Living Daylights to feature light gun support. Nice. One down. Oh, okay, I got it. Holy shit. I missed that one. Okay. Fucking hell. Nice. One more. Nice. Got it. Okay, now for the impossible level. 10 in a row. Gotta have some serious strategy and luck. I haven't, like, identified as well. I mean, I guess in a very general sense, it's easier to shoot the, like, it's not easier to shoot. It's, like, easier to have your shots register in the sky. But, I'm not sure. 10 in a row. Can it be done? Oh, that didn't register. Okay. Oh, neither did that. Okay. I missed it. Like, every time you do kind of reset your streak, like, you only have so many chances. 5. Okay, we got it. Okay. You hear a helicopter approach. Spectre agents are attacking. Shoot the helicopter 10 times. Holy shit, we got an actual different level. Okay, I was wrong. I thought for sure things were just kind of looping. Final level! Okay. That's exciting. Even if this goes to shit, then we know the game is completable. Final level. We're only at 2140 though. Actually, I guess you could probably milk the score. For every stage where you like have to shoot entire groups, if you shoot clays but don't shoot the entire group, you'll get to shoot more of them before the level ends. So I guess that's how you optimize for score in this game. All right, shoot the helicopter 10 times. Shoot the helicopter now. Oh shit, you didn't stop the Spectre agents in time. Enjoy your stay in hospital. Better luck next time. Wow, okay. I didn't realize it would just like pass by once and then fly away. I didn't click quite as fast as I could have. I thought I was shooting fairly rapidly, but the game doesn't actually tell you how many shots you're landing either. Ah, shoot. Okay, but we can do this. We can do this. It's just level 9 is the hard level, but I was able to be lucky enough to do it at least once. So I think we'll get it. One more. There we go. Clear 3 groups. More. There we go. Nope, there we go. 5 in a row. Didn't register? Nope. I just missed. Oh yeah, okay. Level 4. Do 10 clays. 9. 7, 6. 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. And done. 3 groups. Okay. Missed that one. Oh, that's so hard to hit, but we got it. Okay, 5 in a row. Try to go for the easier ones. Or the more consistent ones, I should say. Easy peasy. Okay. 20 clays. Oh, okay. Ah. Doing rather poorly, I think. Kind of catching up here. There we go. Okay, 5 groups. Four. 3, nice. 2, okay. Oh, shit, I missed it. 4, nice. Nice, nice. Okay, one group. Ah, I missed it. Nice. Okay, we got it. 10 in a row. This is the real deal. Hydrate. Fuck. Shouldn't have done that. I had 9 in a row. But I wasn't sure how much was left of the level, so I was like, I felt the need to take the chance. Ah, shit. Because it doesn't tell you how many are left in the entire stage. I could have done it. I just needed to be a little more... a little more patient. But if you aim, you know, I was able to get... I got like 1 7 streak, I think, and 1 9 streak, and then like another 7 streak or something, so... You actually have a decent amount of leeway to mess up. Or you don't have that much leeway to mess up, but you do at least have significant leeway to elect to not shoot. You know, you can choose your targets. You don't have to be pressured into firing ones that you don't feel confident about hitting. I guess also applies here. Oh, we got it anyway. Do 10 clays. I want to get to the helicopter stage again. I guess you should find... Yeah, you should like find the spots on screen. Like instead of identifying general areas where you feel like you can't shoot, maybe it's easier to identify areas where you definitely can shoot. Because that seems like consistent enough. Like right above this little brush. Like shots seem to register just fine. Okay, let's actually hit an entire group though. Oh, alright, we got it. Why is 007 shooting clays on some dude's estate? Because there's a lot of European dignitaries involved. We're here to gather intelligence and spy. There was something about Turkish assassins and a body washing up in France or something or other. We're just here to... well, also, after shooting a bunch of clay pigeons, a helicopter of Spectre agents shows up and we have to shoot it. But there was a, you know, there's a whole audio tape with the Q briefing us and everything. It's pretty cool. 5 in a row. Oh, there we go. Nailed it. At least the screen flashed that second time. Maybe we can find, yeah, like a rough like vertical range. I don't know. I'm like fully in like conspiracy mode of trying to figure out how the game functions. 5 groups. Good start. Nice, got it. It's so, there's so much black in this scene. Like, so many black pixels. Especially this little ridge that's in this perfect angle for the clay pigeons to blend in. Super fuck up here. Oh, it didn't register. Dude, am I gonna fail level 8? I think I might. Flipped outside the window. Oh, dude. Okay, I think we're... Okay. I'm not having good luck with my shots registering here. Yeah, we're gonna game over here. Okay, that was lucky. There cannot have been any chances left on this stage. This game has a suspicious license? I'm not sure what you mean by that. There's nothing suspicious about this. 10 in a row, here we go. Fucked that up, but at least I fucked up early. Time to recover. Fuck. I didn't hit the one I was aiming for, but I hit one. Oh, how did that miss? Okay, we're screwed now, I think. Yeah. Was this always a James Bond game? Yes, this game was created for this package and for this light gun. We're on Lord Bromley's country estate. We're doing some clay pigeon shooting. And we have to reach level 10 for the Spectre helicopter to appear. Which we did once. And we got reasonably close again. Or let me put it this way, by the way, as a non-expert on ZX Spectrum software, I have seen no evidence to support the idea that this game was something else previously. But you know, it's also... You're coming up with whatever that you can probably throw together reasonably quickly. To work with a light gun. But again, the whole like narrative and like the briefing stuff and how it's all tied together. I just realized this is a 5 in a row stage. I should be a little more judicious. There we go. It's actually pretty cool. All right. 10 clays. Okay. I, of course, cannot speak to how well this works on real hardware. But aside from the specific weird inconsistencies that happen, like, it's surprisingly kind of smooth and responsive, and when it works, it's, like, really satisfying. Not bad looking either, frankly. Okay, one group. Nice, got it. Okay. 5 in a row. 1 second. Just... Okay. The Spectrum had a light gun in 1990. Whoops. But I don't know much about it outside of the context of this box set. I do not know, in fact, if there were other games developed for it. Or if these games are the extent of it. Alright, okay, we're in the final stretch. So, what I was... Oh, okay. Last time when I got to level 9, I figured, like, let me just go for the ones that go towards the left. So the ones that are coming out towards the sky here. And obviously there are ones that go to the right that I can't hit. But maybe it's smart to like hover like this, just a small kind of subsection of the screen, and not worry about anything else. And if I can hit that relatively consistently, like, it should be doable. 5 groups, okay. Ah, I missed the last one. I missed the last one again. You want to get lucky and get the groups of 2. Still missed one. Going like fully rapid fire. There we go. One more group. And they shoot multiple simultaneous ones. It's pretty tricky. Nice, one more. Nice, okay. Level 9. At least eventually you get to play Bloodstone. I mean, we've got ways to go until we get there, but yeah, I actually have not played that many Bond games, so I would imagine that the average level of quality is like fairly respectable. There's some very mediocre games, but even, you know, going through the doldrums of Euro microcomputer games, there really hasn't been a single one that's been like fully miserable. Like the closest might be A View to a Kill, not the text adventure, but the action game, because it was like entirely inscrutable and like completely broken, but it was still very interesting to experience, and the music was cool. Like, it was still entertaining. I enjoyed those streams. Yeah, there's probably going to be some, like, I've heard that 007 Racing is awful. I know that GoldenEye Rogue Agent is like, it's the kind of game that people will say is dog shit, the worst thing they've ever seen. But I think the bigger issue with something like that is probably that it's like both more mediocre than terrible, but also just like really tedious. You know, having like poor checkpointing and difficulty spikes and stuff that just makes it not fun to play. But we'll see. We'll see. I feel like once we get to the like GoldenEye onwards, with few exceptions, I feel like most games from that point onward are going to be the kind of games you'll get through eventually with a little bit of patience. Whereas some of these earlier games, they might just have like completely impenetrable difficulty walls. Which, you know, I can deal with bad games just fine, but if they're frustrating and difficult, I have a much harder time. But Bloodstone is one of the last games. There's not much left after. There's like a couple of mobile games, and I think 007 Legends is like the last game. But yeah, should be fun. I think all of the like the PS2, Xbox games, and even the various like GoldenEye remakes and whatnot. Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. But hey, I'm having fun with this in the meantime. All right, so 10 in a row. Let's try that strat. Let's try to like only aim for the stuff on the left here and ignore everything else. Okay, I got distracted. Like, just to kind of prove a point, like, or not to prove a point exactly, but to determine like whether this is a viable strat. Just research, collecting data. Like, it feels like I'm missing a lot of them, but I'm hitting the ones I'm attempting to hit, and that's what matters. Well, we got it. I think that's the strat. Alright, you hear a helicopter approach. Spectre agents are attacking. Shoot the helicopter 10 times. Pull the triggers to start the level. Shoot the helicopter now is your objective. So the helicopter is going to pop in around here, It's gonna fly kind of all the way over here, and then it's gonna like fly into the background. It's not really clear at what point, like, is it vulnerable while it's appearing, or only when it's like sideways? I don't know. I'm just gonna mash as hard as I can, because it doesn't tell you. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but I would assume that you get points when you hit it. So if you look at the score counter, maybe you can see when you hit, but I didn't think there was any visual feedback really to let you know that you hit. I also didn't realize that you had like 5 seconds to do it. So I kind of clicked a couple of times, but I didn't realize the urgency. So I feel like aiming shouldn't be difficult. I have a cursor, you know, and it's not moving in an erratic fashion really. I just have to like mash quickly and hope that the game registers my inputs, I think. Yeah, people have a very, like, it's going to be super fun to stream GoldenEye because people have such a, like, it's going to be fun, not because like I hold the game in such high regard that it's going to, you know, that I think it's so good and it's going to be a good game and that's why I want to play it, but more so I feel like a lot of viewers will come to a stream like that with their own kind of sets of expectations and thoughts about the game. And I think it's super fun to stream shit that people have no idea what it is, and certain types of viewers are going to be very excited to, you know, see new games that they haven't seen before and all of that. I mean, I'm super into that stuff myself. But some people just find it really fun to watch streamers play their favorite games or whatever. And I don't know, I would like to imagine that I've cultivated the kind of audience here that many of you guys probably, GoldenEye might not be your favorite games either. Don Kale, for example. But even so, it's a game that people have a relationship with, so I think that's going to be fun. But, you know, I personally have never thought of it that highly. At the time, I was like super deep into playing Quake. And before that, I had played a lot of Marathon, and I had played Doom. Like, I was all into PC FPSs. So the novelty of the multiplayer, the novelty of the, I don't know, the aiming and the controls, like a lot of that stuff I felt just like weird. And then you have like, you know, the performance being terrible and the clunkiness of the aiming and everything. Like, it just didn't, you know, none of the actual shooting or gameplay like felt good or impressive to me. But I thought it was neat the way it had like the mission structure and the objectives and stuff like, and that's the part that I think is innovative and really cool, that I think still like holds up super well. But I never, like, I remember when I was in college, I was me and some friends, like, we're at a guy's place, and he had an N64 with this like pirate thing with like a, not a flash card exactly, I forget, it was like a game copier thing or whatever. So we had a bunch of games, and we were like, you know, they were really excited about like, oh, let's play GoldenEye, and this was in like 2005, 2006, something like that. And I hadn't really played it since back in the day. I was like, oh sure, you know, multiplayer games, whatever. I don't know if the game's very good, you know, but fine, we'll play it. And I like owned them super hard while continuously being like, man, this game is pretty like whatever. And they got really mad. Because like the first thing I did was like, well, let's change the controls so that I can like walk with the D-pad and aim with the analog stick, as opposed to using the weird like R trigger to aim around the screen. And I don't know, the standard controls are so whack. So I just like never thought very highly of the multiplayer. Like, it was really cool what they were able to do with it and everything. I have a lot of respect for the game, but I never got like very excited about it. So it'll be very interesting to see. And I never like finished it proper from beginning to end. Like, I've played it a bunch of times, I've played a bunch of the levels, but I haven't like really properly completed it from beginning to end. So I think it'll be like, I'm excited about it because it's going to give me the opportunity to like fully form a cohesive opinion on the game, whereas my thoughts on it right now is mostly, you know, these kind of fragments of having played it here and there, and most recently a very long time ago. I mean, I don't begrudge anyone for liking it. I don't think it's a bad game. I just don't, I mean, I played Nightfire That's one of the relatively few Bond games that I have more intimate experience with. I bought Nightfire for Xbox, and I thought it was great. And I remember at the time thinking, like, dude, this game is awesome. This is like way better than GoldenEye. Like, you have cool Bond moments. It's got like 6 score mechanics, fun like unlock. It's got cool vehicle stages. And like, I feel like even at that point, this was in like 2003 or something, I felt that people were so hung up on the idea of GoldenEye being like the perfect Bond game, the most amazing console FPS, the best movie licensed game ever made, that like it felt pretty clearly to me that people just had a very, like, again, I don't say this to disparage the game itself, but people just had this very emotional attachment and this kind of, they were very attached to the idea of this game being whatever it meant to them, that, you know, long story short, you know, a lot of rose-tinted glasses, I guess. And, you know, not like I'm not guilty of that with some things, and I think that's fine. It just gets weird. I mean, it's similar to people saying that the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie is the best video game movie, and then it's great. And it's like, it's cool, dude. You loved it when you were 12. And you hold a very, like, that movie holds a special place in your heart. That's cool. But I you know, enjoy it. That's awesome. And I don't want to say like that your love for this thing prevents you from having like an objective view of things, because I don't think you can have an objective opinion on any piece of media. But to at least, like, I think people fail to recognize in some cases how much of their assessment of a thing is colored by that kind of nostalgic relationship to it. It's, my point isn't that like GoldenEye is overrated. It's you think it's good, but actually it's bad. Like, that's not the point. It's just that I think any discourse around that game, and by extension, not just Bond games, but like movie licensed games, get a little bit like it poisons the well, sort of. That people kind of go in with this preconceived notion of that game being the ultimate like untouchable thing, and aren't maybe as open to like reassessing it as you might ought to be, if you want to like actually make comparisons to other things and like think about it a little bit more analytically. But obviously it is a game that people had a tremendous amount of fun with, and it means a lot to a lot of people, and that seems like a very foolish thing to try and argue with. But as with anything, you know, I take a lot more joy in finding things to appreciate in games than things to like dunk on. And I'm sure when we get to GoldenEye, I'll find a lot of things to get annoyed with and things to be unimpressed with. But I'm sure there's going to be things that I'm really like excited about too. But we got a lot of ground to cover until we get there. Someone in chat asked, am I counting such and such as a separate game? You can look at the list right there, and that list will tell you exactly what is part of Games Bond, including which version of each game we are planning to play. And basically, games, with one exception, which is the Slovak exclusive Octopussy game, which was just too fascinating not to include. The main game list will only contain licensed and officially released games, and I include multiple versions of the same game if they are like meaningfully different. And in some cases, like License to Kill and not You Only Live Twice, what is it called? Live and Let Die. Even though one main version is kind of listed in the list, we usually check out the various like computer ports just to kind of see what they're like. But in some cases you have like fully different games. Like James Bond the Duel for the Mega Drive is a completely different game from the Duel on Master System and Game Gear. So we're going to be checking out both of those. All right, that's enough stalling. We made it to level final. Let's mash the shit out of this helicopter. I didn't get it. Oh, I guess I did. You made the Spectre agents retreat and won the competition. Well done. Pull trigger to continue. I won the competition. I guess that's time. Just a hair over an hour, including various rants. We did it. There was a competition, I guess so. I mean, doesn't that seem like a Bond kind of thing? He like starts engaging in a shootout, no one notices, and like takes down a helicopter and does all kinds of things, and then like some hapless Lord Bromley comes with a medal and it's like, oh, you accidentally won the clay pigeon shooting competition while you were at it. You know, I can picture it. I can picture it. All right, that's Lord Bromley's estate. That was pretty cool. You know, for a ZX Spectrum light gun game, I have to say this exceeded my expectations. Except maybe on the audio part. Although, I mean, conceptually, assuming that's what it was meant to sound like, you have like the ambience of gunshots in the background and shit. Kind of cool. Is this story canon? Well, seeing as how the James Bond 007 action pack basically writes a completely new backstory and plot for the Living Daylights, I'm gonna say no. And it's also not even internally consistent, because a lot of names of stuff like is not the same in, like the written manual, the Q audio tape, and the games themselves in some cases are all like slightly different in their descriptions and explanations of things. Let me go to the spreadsheet here and fill in the data here. We have officially completed Lord Bromley's estate in 1 hour, 0 minutes, and 41 seconds. Completed legitimately, or let's put it this way, completed as legitimately as one could, using a mouse instead of a light, what was it called? A Magnum light phaser. Fair enough of an assessment. I did, as mentioned, catch up a little bit on stream VOD highlights and some other stream production stuff. I still haven't set up a good way to capture and do this on stream, but again, if you want to follow along and double check what's happening in the spreadsheet, you got the link right there. Nothing too exciting here. If you're not able to check that out because you're watching on mobile or you can't be bothered clicking, that's fine. You're not missing anything super crucial. We'll get through all the important information here on stream. That means that Q's Armory is up next. And before we jump into the game itself, we of course... oh yeah, we're talking a bit about this. We finished Lord Bromley's estate. Mission 10 has been completed. And we're moving on to Mission 11. Q's Armory, also known as Q's Shooting Range, which is the title written on the cassette tape. 007 must successfully train with one of Q's new weapons in the MI6 underground shooting range before taking on his next mission. This was again released as part of the James Bond 007 Action Pack Bundle, developed to support the light gun accessory, the Magnum Light Phaser. The game features Desmond Llewellyn playing Q on the audio cassette, explaining the backstory and mission. And that is, of course, the next thing for us to check out. But before we do, let us make sure that everything is on the up and up as far as stream information and everything else. I'm also realizing that I've been live for about 2 hours. I think this is a perfect opportunity to take a very short break. So when I return, we will have all this stuff updated. We'll get to the lore and everything, and we will get to Q's Armory. So see you guys in just a little bit.